Hello, so how are you? Very good. Are you good?
Good.
Are you a Muslim?
Yes.
Oh, really? I like to talk to Muslim. Muslim are very friendly
Really?
and also religious. Are you religious?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm also religious, but I follow Isa. Follow Muhammad. I follow Isa.
You're Christian.
I'm more than Christian. I follow Isa, follow Jesus seriously. The other Christians are not following Jesus. They're just by name. Are you a true Muslim? True seeking Muslim? Seeking the Allah?
I think so.
Are you praying 5 times a day?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not right now.
Not really. Not right now, okay.
But I'm gonna make them up.
Huh?
You can make them up. When you miss your prayers,
Oh, okay. Make it up.
you can make them up.
Okay, never mind. But I'm also religious in the sense that I'm interested to talk about religion because I find that when I found my faith with Jesus, you also have Isa right in the Quran.
Yes.
I found Isa in the Bible. I found it very meaningful. I find it joyful, peaceful, and then contentment, and find a meaning of life there. So I'm interested to find out because I also want to find out from the Islamic faith because Islam, the Muslims are very genuine. I see everywhere they are praying, kneeling, prostrating. So I find it interesting, So maybe they are true, So I need to, if I'm true, I talk to a Muslim. He say, convince me, I need to become Muslim,
Are you a student here? Or?
I'm a student. Yeah. So if not, then I have to bring them to know Jesus, the truth, the only Savior. Would you mind if I give you this? Give you free for you to read. Something from the Quran mentioned about the Bible, from the Quran mentioned about Isa, and compare with the Bible mentioned about Isa. So there you can see that Jesus mentioned in the Bible compared to the Isa in the Quran actually is 2 different persons. They are not the same. The Jesus in the Bible, the Isa in the Quran is different person. So even though the Muslims say it's the same person. See, because
there are differences of opinion, because Christians believe Jesus to be the Son of God.
From the Bible.
From the Bible.
Christians take the idea from the Bible.
Muslims would argue that that's not
Blasphemy.
the authentic.
Yeah, blasphemy against Allah. Blasphemy. It's a shirk.
Yes,
It's a shirk. Talk about because Allah has no partner. Allah has no. He is not created. He has no
parts.
No parts, and then not created, and then there's no association. But then the Jesus that we mentioned, Son of God, is not the biological son. The Son of God is a title. It's not a biological of flesh.
I get it.
Somebody got a sexually relation.
No.
So the Son of God means that he is really God himself. He has the nature of God in him, but he is also.
Mind just moving a bit? I can smell the garbage.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Sorry. Now maybe we can take a chair here. If you're not in a hurry, we can have some light discussion. I would be interested because I find every Muslim has a different belief system. When you know that every Muslim has a different opinion on their own about Islamic faith, and some I ask some question, they always give me different answers. And I found out that also interesting to know that the Quran is supposed to be a perfect book, right? Perfectly preserved. And then when I study further, I discover some of the concept is not aligned with the historical known facts that we know today, outside of religious faith.
Could you give an example?
Example, the Haman person exists in the history during Persian time, but in the Quran, Haman.
In the Quran, it's with Musa. He's
Right. Oh, you know that, right? In the Muslim side,
he's in the guard of the Pharaoh.
He's a constructor, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a contractor in Pharaoh Paris.
Something like that.
But then the Quran, the historical texts realize that Haman actually is not the same time assistant with Pharaoh. It's outside Pharaoh's time. It's much further down the line. That's one example.
But that doesn't necessarily disprove it because there could have been another Haman at the time of Pharaoh.
But the origin of the name Haman is not an Egyptian name.
It's a Persian name?
Yeah, Persian name. It's not Egyptian name.
Haman?
We can study further and then all that. And then another issue is crucifixion. And the Quran mentioned Pharaoh used crucifixion to crucify or to punish or to torture the criminals. But the history expert tells us that Romans is the one who invented crucifixion. It's a cruel way of punishing the criminals.
I've heard of different historical opinions that it's been used since times in Babylon, in
but not as far as
Mesopotamia. They
Mesopotamia,
use-
still very far away from the Moses time. Moses is about 1000 BC,
Mhm.
1005 or 2000 BC that time.
Mesopotamia has been around for 5,000 years.
But the history tells us that history experts tells us that it's the Romans that invented. It started there, and then during Jesus' time, they used that to crucify Jesus. You know, the Quran, the mention of in the Quran is just putting the pieces together from different places. And unless you say that Quran doesn't necessarily have to be a historical book, then I have no opinion about that. Do you want to define that? He cannot be
I
found.
just want to check this crucifixion thing real quick,
Okay.
because I've heard this from Christians themselves and historians that
All right. Okay. Yeah.
crucifixion has been here since the Babylonians used to crucify. So the Assyrians, this was practiced in Mesopotamia. And at the time,
Christian. Okay.
Assyrians too, but you have to take other things into perspective too, because at that time, even before the time of Musa, people would travel, empires would fight, they would travel from, like for example, the Egyptians would go to Mesopotamia and Mesopotamians would come to Egypt. There was a lot of exchanges going on.
Yeah.
So just because
It did not exist in the time of Pharaoh and Moses in this 13-15 BC. It did not exist that time.
as a formal method.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I
but
mean,
you know how the
formal.
Muslim-
that's the
I give you the answer. Do you know how the Muslim defend?
how.
The Muslim scholar said that actually the Quran is not, you should not take it literally. It is a symbolic of the
No, I don't.
cruelty. You don't agree, right?
I don't agree.
You don't agree? That's good. That's
no,
good. Then we
but
can
there's
continue
some things that
Right.
that are metaphorical.
Right.
You can't take it. Some things, but by default, there's things that you have to take literally. Like, for example, that Isa was not crucified. You
okay.
can't take that metaphorically.
All right. That is supposed to be historical, yeah.
Yeah,
Historical.
most historians would argue that he was, but as a Muslim,
You have to stick with the Quran.
yeah.
Okay. So this is another issue that I'm glad you pointed out. Jesus' crucifixion is also historical,
Like for example,
agreeable.
like a very good, yeah, and the crucifixion thing. So going back to that, it said that it wasn't a formal method, so it wasn't like the state didn't employ it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the Babylonians didn't, or
the Pharaoh.
the Pharaoh didn't use it as a method.
But it was too far away. If we know chronologically, we know the Persian and the Moses in the Persian time is very far away. It's about 1,000 years apart. So it cannot be possibly started from the time of Pharaoh.
Okay, but
Okay. Yeah. Right.
yeah, thank you too. It's good to have a dialogue. It helps you refine
Open
your
up.
understanding.
Open up. And then I also have another issue for you to talking about the Miriam. Have you heard about the Miriam issue?
Mother of Jesus.
Mother of Jesus, Miriam. As Quran mentioned that he's also a sister of Aaron.
Yeah, I've heard.
Have you-
I've heard
how-
that.
how have
that
you reconciled? How
I
have you
didn't.
reconciled?
I didn't do my research on that, but I have heard other Christians use that as a point of contention.
Contention,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I would say it's not surprising for me to mix with the Moses sister, Aaron's sister, because they also have a Miriam as a sister, older sister. They have a same name, but in the Bible we use different name. For Moses' sister, it's called Miriam. For the Mary, for Jesus' mother, we call Mary, so it's a different name. But for the Quran, you call the same name, Miriam. So there's a Miriam in that Miriam science. It's just conflicted together, so it's not surprising. So when the Quran mentioned about Miriam as a sister of Aaron, so because at time during Prophet Muhammad's time, they learned things through hearing. It's not through books. There's no books, no records. So through hearing, word by word, and then oral transmission. Oral transmission, so people learn from hearing. So when they have narration, they have storytelling, they have teaching by oral. So it's not surprising for me to know if there's a conflict between the two names. Put it together as a sister of Moses, because there's no historical setting in that phrase itself in the Quran. Because Quran is a poetic writing, yeah, poetic.